Investing in real estate is one of the best decisions you can make in your financial life, not only because you buy your first property, but also because you build assets. And that's what I'm trying to do. I own 4 apartments that I rent, and I started in real estate without knowing anything, without prior experience, everything from scratch. So if you're ready to invest, but you are overwhelmed because you think the process is complicated because of the tenants, the loans, the banks, the agents, don't worry, because in this video, I'm gonna walk you through the whole process to buy your first rental property, from deciding to invest all the way to getting your keys and placing your first tenants. Hi everyone, this video is for the ones that want to invest in residential real estate, and we are going to divide this video in different parts. And the first part is defining your rental strategy. If you're ready to invest in residential real estate, you need to know what you want to acquire. Are you going to buy houses, multifamily units, or Airbnbs? For example, in our case, we have 2 properties and each property has 2 apartments, because when you invest in residential real estate, it's much better to invest in multifamily units than just buying one house and try to rent that house, because you're going to get more profit when you have more apartments. Once you know the rental strategy you're going to follow, now you need to get your finances ready, because you don't need to be extremely rich to buy your first property, but you need to have everything ready and organized, because when you want to get a loan from the bank is going to look at your salaries, your debt, your income, also how much savings you have. You will also need to have money to cover the down payment of the house. For example, in our case, when we bought our first property, it was $125,000, but after negotiations, they left the price to $107,000, and we needed to pay 30% of down payment. So you need to have that money. That can be yours, or it can be also from a family member loan or a private lender that can give you this money. Also, you need to keep in mind that you will have closing costs, and also you need to have an emergency fund in case something happens with the property. You have this money available. Let's talk about now how financing works for rental properties. There are many ways, and the first one is the classical conventional investment loan, where you go to a bank, present a bunch of papers, and they give you the loan. And that's exactly what we did. We didn't want to have a private lender and give us the money and buy the property. No, we just wanted to do everything through a bank. We just have money for the down payment plus a family member loan that we got in order to have enough money to pay the down payment of the property we bought, but we use the bank. Another way that you can use in order to get the money to buy your first rental property could be through savings, although this is much harder unless you really have a lot of money accumulated to buy your property without the need of getting a bank loan. You can also partner with someone, but I don't recommend it, because if you really want to work with a partner, it has to be a person that is that has good work ethics, that is a person that you can trust, fully trust. I would only recommend to have a partner when it's your wife or your husband. Like in my case, I work with my husband, and this is something that we do for our family. You can also get a loan from a private lender, but here you're going to pay a lot of interest, because these private lenders, they are not going to give you a loan for 30 years, probably 1 year, 2 years. It depends how you do the contract, but these are the ways that you can get a loan from your rental property. I want to clarify that rental loans usually require more documentation and higher down payments than primary homes. For example, in this house where I lived with my family, with my kids, I pay $15,000 for down payment, and this house is worth more than $300,000. But when I bought my first rental property, we paid 30% of down payment, $30,000 approximately. So as you can see the difference. Why? Because you're buying your rental property to invest, meaning you want to make profit, and that's why you're going to present more documentation and higher down payments. Let's talk about now the documents the bank is going to ask for. These are general documents that all banks are going to ask, and of course it depends on your situation. But if you're going to buy your first rental property, the first thing you need to present is your proof of income. For example, in our case, my husband works in a multinational company, so he had to present the Form W-2, and because I am a business owner, I had to present the Form 1099 for self-employed people. So the first thing the banks want to know is how much much money you make. Then you need to present your bank statements. Of course, you need to have everything organized. Also, your credit report, you need to be good in the system. And if you have 700 points, you are in good shape. And if you have 740 points, you are excellent. So you need to take care of your financial situation. Please make good decisions when you spend money with your credit cards and pay everything, pay all your debts, because everything is going to affect your credit score. Of course, you will need to present your tax returns. That's what we did. And obviously your identification and legal status. If you are a Latino or if you are a person living abroad in another country, you can also invest here in the US, but there are other requirements, and I'm going to make another video explaining that. For now, if you are here in the US and want to invest in your first property, these are the documents that bank usually require. This is also key, finding the right rental property. What do you do to know that the house you're gonna buy is gonna give you profit, it's gonna give you money, it's gonna be a good investment? The first step is looking for houses on Realtor, on Zillow, and other platforms that are on the market. You can also look at MLS with an agent, and in our case, I did it a traditional way. I downloaded Zillow and I started looking for houses every day that were in our budget range. Our budget was $150,000. Maybe you are surprised and maybe you are asking, where are you finding those deals? In this part of Ohio, in this Northeast Ohio area, close to Cleveland, you can find these houses at that price. So that's what we did. Every day I started looking for houses and I found 3-4 houses. And one of the things that you need to keep in mind is that you need to see a house once you have the candidates, the potential rental properties you want to acquire. You need to know, you need to analyze them very well. First of all, they need to have a good foundation. If the foundation is good, you are in good shape, because even if the house requires renovations, different repairs, like let's say painting the walls, changing the carpet, or changing the floors, maybe changing the bathroom, it's manageable and you can do it. But if the house, suddenly the foundation is bad, that means that that house needs to be torn down so you can make a new one, and probably your investment is gonna be much higher and your return maybe is not gonna be the one that you expect. So you need to be very careful and mindful what property you plan to buy. Touring properties and making an offer is another important aspect when investing in residential real estate. So once you have the candidates of properties you plan to buy, now you need to go and see them, and I already mentioned everything that you need to keep in mind in order to choose the right one. So when you know the house you're planning to buy, you are sure, now you need to make an offer to the owner of that house, and this is when the agent is going to take place, because through the agent you're going to make an offer. For example, in our case, when we bought the second property with the 2 apartments, when we saw the property was $130,000, so that's what we offer. We didn't increase or decrease the offer. We said to our agent, okay, we are gonna buy the house at that price. But she told us that's why having a good agent is important. And she told us there were other competitors, especially a buyer that wanted to buy the house at $80,000 in cash. And okay guys, if you want to buy this house, you need to hurry up, because this guy is gonna buy the house in cash. So you need to make another offer, increase your offer, and maybe you are gonna be the ones that are gonna get the house. So because we really wanted to buy the house, we saw a lot of potential. The 2 apartments were in good condition except for the basement that it needs some work. But then we offer $150,000. So we increased our offer by $20,000, and at the end we were the ones that were accepted by the owner, and it was great. So that's the way how the process works. Let's talk about the appraisal and the bank approval. When you are in the middle of this process of getting a loan from the bank, they are going to send an appraiser who is a professional that is going to see your house, evaluate the condition of the property. It usually takes 30 to 45 minutes for this professional to evaluate, to see every room of the house you're planning to buy, and they're going to see the public records, and they are going to form an independent professional opinion of the property's market value to see and to ensure that the loan amount is justified. So that's why they send this appraiser, and after this professional gives his report, then the bank will say, okay, yes, we are going to proceed with the loan. The process of getting the loan from a bank can be overwhelming. In our case, we needed to sign so many different documents, is a lot. And that's why you also need to have a good agent, because she was in charge of sending different emails all the time, different notifications. She was very good with communicating with us everything we needed to know and present. So she was very nice. Again, having a good agent is going to make the difference. It's going to save you thousands of dollars in this transaction of getting your first rental property. So you're gonna sign many documents, and stress can be normal. There are gonna be delays. There are gonna be probably documents that you need to present at the last minute. This process can be a little overwhelming for some people, but you just follow the steps, follow what the agent says, and it's gonna be fine. Once you follow everything, then finally the bank is gonna give you the loan. Let's talk about the title company and the closing process. Now that you have the loan from the bank, the money's in your bank account, you need the title company, because they are going to be in charge of helping you with the legal side so you can become the legal owner of your rental property. That's what happened in our case. Again, you are going to sign in person a lot of documents, many, like 200 papers, like this, so many documents. And it's such a great feeling signing these papers, because it's your first property, the first investment that you do in the United States, at least in residential real estate, because this video is for people that are beginners, that they don't have experience with real estate. And that's what happened to me when I went to the title company with my husband and we signed those papers. We couldn't believe it, especially in my case, because I am from Peru and I never had any property, any house. So being here and being able to invest in real estate is an amazing feeling. And we're doing this because we want to secure our future. We want to build generational wealth. I want to mention that when you sign these papers, you are going to get the keys in a couple of hours after, or the next day through your agent. In our case, it was one day after, so it was smooth, it was easy. As soon as we got the keys, we went and visited the property. And that's the next part of this journey of becoming a real estate investor, because if your plan is to rent your property, of course you need to go and see what you need to do. You need to prepare the house for the tenant. You need to renovate different areas that the house needs, paint the walls, change the floors, change the carpets, maybe change the toilets, clean. You need to do a deep cleaning, the kitchen, so many things that your house may need. That's what you need to do. And that's exactly what we did in our first property. I remember the first apartment, we renovated it right away because the tenants also left. But in our second apartment, the second floor apartment, we inherited a tenant, meaning that the tenant stayed there for 1 year. And after he left, that's when we started cleaning and making renovations, and it was beautiful. This house was worth $107,000, but because of these renovations that we did entirely on ourselves, except for the bathroom of the second floor apartment, now this house is worth $200,000. So we made $100,000. It is crazy, really, and we are so happy. And that's why you need to invest in real estate. Honestly, you are building generational wealth, and if you want to have cash flow every month through your rentals, it's a great way. But I think that the most important thing of investing in real estate is because you build assets, you build generational wealth, long-term wealth, and you build equity. Another important aspect when you want to make money with this investment is to choose the right tenants. And for that, you need to do a comprehensive screening. You need to see a proof of income. You need to see the rental history of your tenant, their legal processes, if they had any in the past. You need to see their criminal records. You need to see how much money they make. You need to see so many different things in order for you to really see who are you going to give your house to. Because remember that a rental property can be a bad investment when you choose the wrong tenant. You want to choose tenants that are responsible, that are people with good ethics, that are people that they are going to care about the property, that they are going to take care of it. So that's that's why you need to spend some time to do the right screening. And of course, if you want to protect yourself, you need to have a list, a proper list that includes all the obligations, all the norms, rules that you want to include here in this written contract, where the tenant will know exactly what they need to do, how they need to take care of the house, all the obligations, and also their rights as well. And I recommend that you have this list reviewed by a real estate lawyer, because that way you're going to protect yourself. This has been my experience. I wanted to make this video clear in a very simple way, and there are so many other details that I couldn't answer. So if you still have questions, please leave them in the comments below, or you can also follow me on my Instagram and send me a message, and we can talk more about investing in residential real estate. I'm so happy, and I'm gonna keep working to increase my portfolio. Recently, I bought my second property using the BAR method, meaning that I didn't spend any money from my pocket to buy this second property, because I used the BAR method, and on this video I explain more. So if you like this video, also like, share it, and subscribe to my channel. And please, if you subscribe to my channel, you are gonna help me to keep creating this content in English. I am from Peru and trying my best to make this video clear. And thank you so much for watching this video until the very end, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.